Hi guys, Coach Bon here. All right. So this is my take on how to interact with narcissists. Okay. So you heard of other techniques that's been told on how to interact with narcissists. All right. Uh, no contact, gray rock, all this kind of stuff. Now, all these techniques, I feel is like they're effective. It's just so freaking hard to do it. All right. So this is my opinion on how you should approach uh, how you should interact with a narcissist and maybe save yourself a lot of pain and trouble. Okay, so preface this, I'm a bipolar, diagnosed bipolar type type 1, and also suspected narcissistic personality disorder. Okay, I diagnosed myself. Okay, how I did that is because of my abusive behavior. Right. So I also would like to preface this with saying that whatever I say is just basically my opinion as someone, and I'm trying to share what my my life experience and also the experiences that I have going through with this condition. Right. Having said that, more or less, I live in a pretty okay life. Okay? Well, emotionally well regulated as I can. So if you are wondering how I do that, okay, this is some of my musings and some of my suggestions. Okay, so today my suggestions, my advice is basically for people who are trying to interact with narcissists. Okay, what you should do and what techniques you can do to actually, if you want to, live in harmony with your with the narcissist. All right. Okay, so let's get down to it. Now, there are certain stages of this thing, right? Depending on where you are with your relationship with a narcissist, what and how bad of a narcissist you are dealing with, and also uh, whether you have a son or daughter and all this kind of stuff with this narcissistic person. So this is more like generalizations rather than actual, what do you call this? Actual concrete techniques. Okay. All right. Here you go, guys. Now, this is important with any of your with your relationships. All right. The first thing you gotta do is make sure you assess this other person first. Okay. Make sure you assess this other person first objectively when you meet anyone in this case. Okay, make it a rule to know about this person's values. Make sure you take the time to understand whether this person is morally good or bad based on your values, of course. All right. So it could be every other situations and everything, but what you want to do is you want to try to evaluate whether this person is basically a good person, right? So this starts as soon as you meet someone. Okay, so when you meet someone, see whether they have what do you call this? The values that coincides with yours. So take your time. All right. So far be it for me to tell you uh, how long to take your time with this person, but I would suggest a few things. Number one, maybe give yourself at least a certain amount of time before you go to certain milestones. All right. Certain very important milestones that you should try to not go immediately to. Number one would be anything sexual, right? Because anything sexual has a very strong biological component. Okay, it will artificially make you feel like you have a connection with someone. So you might want to try to avoid that first until you figure out whether this person share the same values as you. All right. So this is more important when you're interacting with a narcissist. Okay, so a narcissist will try to progress the connection quickly. Okay, reason being is uh, due to the insecurity the narcissist has, he wants to be able to connect with you as soon as possible. So do yourself a favor, try to avoid uh, being connected to any other person before you assess their values. Okay, so how do I assess the values? Okay, get to know the person, ask them questions, right? Okay, if let's say you value freedom, you value uh, your religion, you value your economic situation, whatever it is, okay? So ask questions, try to figure out if that's something important for you, okay? So feeling will be very, what's the word I want to use? Using feelings as a way to figure out whether you are connected to a person. When it comes to narcissists, I mean with everyone even, but when it comes to narcissists, it's very very dangerous. Okay, due to being the narcissist is an expert at trying to elicit certain emotions in you, so you will get confused. You will get confused. Okay, so if you are with a normal person, you can expect whatever you're feeling is what the other person's feeling. But when it comes to someone with narcissistic tendencies or narcissist himself, it is literally a form of manipulation. All right. Well, in a sense. So try not to go by feeling, guys. Try to go by more like an intellectual side of things. At least at the start. Okay, especially at the start. All right, especially at the start. So ask questions and everything. Uh, some other questions you might want to ask is about what you feel love is, for example. So that's an important part as well. So you'll know whether the person is, because when we're talking about love, we're talking about some kind of connection, some kind of that some kind of indication that other person cares about your well-being. So you want to know and ask about these kind of things as well. So you start setting up boundaries for the relationships and etc. 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 So uh, a lot of YouTube channel try to give you 10 things to see red flags in narcissists or whatever, blah blah blah. Now the thing is, guys, if you follow these YouTube channels, then probably you won't be able to meet a majority of people in the world, right? 80%, maybe 90%. I don't know. Most of us, because of this situation that we live in, will have these characteristics in any way. So you're gonna. I don't think it's a good way for you to assess someone based on the characteristic that they put over there. I think it's better to ask questions, get to know someone better, and that will save you a word of hurt in the future. All right, all right. So assuming you're dealing with a narcissist, this protects you from the love bombing phase as well. Right? This protects you from the love bombing phase as well. So these are questions you usually will ask people anyway, right? So go ahead and ask them, right? Go ahead and ask them while being cautious about your feelings. Okay. So if you find that this person doesn't really mesh with you, okay, then it's very easy to just say no, okay, and make a decision to move away. And also if you feel like this person is right for you, at least you make a decision based on your intellectual feelings. Okay, I know it can be hard with a narcissist, especially, right? Since a narcissist will try to lie and stuff like that. But this kind of things, well, when a guy is lying or not. I hope you do. Okay, I hope you do. Just try not to be, just try not to do things that will confuse you even more. Like I said, anything young involving sexual relationship, you should probably hold off until you truly know this person, right? Okay, so pretty clear cut. So when you first meet a narcissist, gauge them quickly, all right, before you feel like you can go into a relationship or not. All right. Now here's where it gets tricky. Okay. So for most people, they will find that they actually feel better engaging with someone with a narcissistic tendency or an actual narcissist. Okay. Hence, they feel really great in the love bombing phase, and some of them will deem that perhaps it is worth the risk. Okay, any relationship is a risk. Okay, so if you already know this person has this kind of tendency and this kind of value, and seems to elicit a certain type of feeling in you after after a period of time. Okay, so you decide, okay, let's go into a relationship. Okay, now typically with a narcissist, everyone knows about the love bombing phase. Okay, now the love bombing phase is literally the narcissist is one of the ways that narcissists are genuine with you. To be honest with you, okay, the love bombing phase is actually when the narcissist is genuine with you. Meaning here, for this brief moment of time, the narcissist actually feels like the fantasy in his head is real. So for him, it's genuine. The narcissist actually is genuinely uh, the emotion that he has is genuine, which is kind of weird, right? So, meaning here, he gets a sense of relief. Okay, for relief from what? Like I always say in my previous video, the narcissist always has this feeling of insecurity coming from shame and guilt. Okay, and that love bombing phase, you think will be is great for you. It's unbelievably amazing for the narcissist because during that time, uh, he feels great. He feels so much relief from all that pain. Okay, so due to that, do you blame the narcissist when he tries to snapshot that particular moment in his life? Do you blame him from trying to do that because that's the time when he is most happy? He or she, okay, not just the guy. That's the time when he is most happy. So do you blame him for trying to recreate that situation again and again? Now, uh, so enjoy the love bombing phase. Okay, so the narcissist will definitely enjoy it. So you might as well do so as well. Okay, but always bear in mind this relationship, the narcissist is still a child emotionally. Always bear that in mind. Okay, well, hopefully in this relationship, you are the adult. Okay, what I mean when you are an adult, you actually have some empathy. You know that certain actions that you do will hurt other people. All right, and then you have to temper your impulsiveness. You have to temper your thinking about yourself, because you know certain things that makes you feel good will probably make other people feel good. So that is what I mean by being an adult. Okay, I don't mean that you are an adult intellectually, because obviously if you meet a narcissist intellectually, logically speaking, uh, he would be on par with you, probably smarter in a sense, because uh, because of his ability to navigate around people. Okay, in a sense, smarter intellectually, but emotionally, totally, totally stunted in a childlike level. Okay, so having said that, once you understand that this is the situation, then you're gonna have start having conflicts. Okay, every single relationship will have conflict. Okay, every single relationship will have conflict. Even when you go with someone who's normal, you're gonna have conflict. You go with someone a bit perceived normal. You go with a super empath, for example, you're gonna have conflict. You go someone even with your values, you're gonna have conflict because of their own characteristics. So obviously, when you're with a narcissist, you're also going to go through a lot of conflict. Okay, here's where it gets difficult. All right, The other people will interpret emotions like yourself, so it's easy for you to talk to them. It's a bit easier for you to communicate. Okay, meaning here you got a proper uh, understanding of each other's situation. So it's a bit easier to communicate, and it's a bit easier to predict what the other person's going to do, and this and that. Here's the problem with the narcissist, though. You have no idea how he's gonna act, because you are not talking at the same level of communication. Oi, hi brother, hi Mike. Okay, you guys are not talking in the same wavelength. Again, I have to emphasize this a lot. The narcissist is emotionally a child. Emotionally a child, meaning here, if you try to speak to them assuming that they know certain things, then you're obviously gonna miscommunicate. You're gonna miscommunicate, and that's where all the conflict will come. While on the narcissist side, he expects certain things of you that you cannot, like a normal person can't provide, to be honest with you. But he expects that of you. So that's where the conflict will lie. So you, as the adult in this situation, you have accepted the responsibility, unfortunately, if you do want to go into a relationship with a narcissist, to become the one who guides him to become an adult. You have accepted a responsibility because you have seen this. Perhaps you see a potential in a narcissist. Like, if this person actually can become an actual adult, regulate his emotion, he can do great things. And narcissists can do a lot of great things. If he becomes an adult, somehow you manage to convince this person that he does not need his narcissism anymore. So I'm going to go that into more detail uh, after I talk about on the narcissist side. So if there's any narcissist out there who's here, who's listening to my video, on your side, understand that in order for you to get what you want, protection from the shame and guilt, validation, it is important for you to understand that you do not turn this other person into a version of yourself. That is the worst thing you can do, because then you'll both be children. Then who's going to be the adult in this situation, right? Okay. So there's an element of give and take in this situation. Okay. So on the on the narcissistic side, he's going to try to turn you into the perfect mother, perfect father. The one who protect him from everything. Okay. Unfortunately, since he's emotionally dysregulated, his vision of a perfect mother and perfect father would be kind of slightly skewed, but he will still attempt to do so. So it's the job, okay, if I can use that word, the job of the adult in this relationship, the one who has empathy, to show him what a mother should be. Because the narcissist has the only mother and father that he has in his mind is his actual father and mother, right? So that is what he'll try to imagine you to be. But you as the adult in the relationship will have to show him this is what someone who can protect you from all this situation. Okay. So having said that, how do you approach a narcissist? Okay, the first thing you gotta do is you gotta gain his trust. You have to gain his trust. Meaning here, there's a initial element where you figure it out about the narcissist, right? His fears, his insecurities, he's trying to get vulnerable with you. It is very important for you to understand that what he's saying is basically a cry for help. Okay, he is actually exposing what By exposing his dreams, right? By exposing what he wants things to be, he's exposing you to his fantasy land. So the first thing you gotta do is to earn his trust, is to actually validate this. Validate this fantasy. Now that's why it's very important for you to actually figure it out before you go into a relationship with a narcissist. You got to figure out what kind of fantasy in his brain, man. Okay, there's all kinds of narcissists. There's like weird narcissists. They're like nice narcissists. They're like evil narcissists even. So you got to figure out what this fantasy is. And if you ask the question to them, they'll be more than willing to say it. They'll be more than willing to tell you about it. It's just that for a majority of these narcissists, if not all, as soon as they start talking about what they want the world to be, it's either people don't want to listen to it, it's either people say it's a pie in the sky, trying to trying to say he's not in reality, all this kind of stuff. Now that is the number. That is like, by saying that, you're actually making the narcissist don't trust you even more. Okay, why? Why? It's because that's one of the trauma that happens to this by to this narcissist. The reason why he created the fantasy land that he has in his mind is for him to uh, tell himself there is an escape from all his pain, from all his guilt and shame. So if you invalidate that, you're basically telling him, bro, there's no escape for you. There's no escape for you. The thing in your mind is false. So, you know what you should do? Wallow in your shame and guilt. So that's basically what you're saying to a narcissist if you invalidate the fantasy that he has in his mind. And that is painful for a narcissist. You want to hurt narcissist? Let him to get you talk about his dreams, about how he plans to save himself from all this pain, and tell him that's stupid. You want to cause narcissist pain? That's how you do it. So it's kind of difficult for you to try to, so it becomes eventually difficult for you to try to pull out the narcissist fantasy from him. But it's important for you to do so because it's for your own good and for his own good. Because then you'll know how to speak to this person. You'll know what type of value he has in his mind. So the first step in trying to gain trust from a narcissist is to validate his fantasy. That's it. Don't laugh at it. Especially don't laugh at it. Okay. Now, as soon as, like I said, as soon as as this person feels shame and guilt, then the narcissism will react. We can't help it. That's how we are built. Okay. So rather than doing that, might as well validate the person, right? I mean, feels good. You want people to validate your ambitions, don't you? Okay, so maybe the narcissists have like really over the top ambitions, but hey, I mean, think of it this way: you validate it, he feels good. You invalidate it, he feels like crap, like shit. It's even worse for him. He won't be able to regulate himself in real life. He won't be able to work. He won't be able to do this. So it's a mercy, right? It's a mercy. All right, so that's the first step on how to get a narcissist to trust you. Validate his dreams. Now, the older narcissist gets, it's going to be harder for you to try to pull out that dream from him because he's already gone through a few processes where when he tries to say it, people laughs at him. But he will say his values. He will say it because he wants to know whether you share the same thing with him or not. He's evaluating you as well, whether he can trust you or not. So once he trusts you, he knows that you share the same dream with him, then you got a good foundation. Okay? Just so Bear in mind also, there's some really effed up dreams as well. So you gotta be careful with that. Okay, always protect yourself. Okay, even using my techniques, always protect yourself. Okay, you need to do no contact, you go ahead. You need to go gray rock, go ahead. It's just as those things are difficult. Okay, so what's the next step on trying to make the narcissist trust you even more? Okay, so you already validated his fantasy, right? The next step would be to show that you really do care about what he wants to do, his ideas, for example, right? So obviously, in our day and age, every time that someone comes up with an idea, we are quick to shoot it down. But it's very important for you to validate the narcissist's ideas to show that you care. You want to show him what caring feels like, right? He doesn't know it. You want to show what caring feels like. So validate his ideas, validate his emotions. Okay, uh, validate his actions. Okay, I'm not saying you condone it, all right, guys. I'm not saying you condone it, but validate it. Tell him that what he does matters. And okay, he's the child, you're the adult, right? Hopefully, you're the adult. Tell him if needed, there's a better way. Suggest to him certain things. Now, unfortunately, when you become an, you know, an old narcissist, you learn certain habits, and one of the habits is you get entitled, those kind of stuff. So you don't really like people telling you that what you are doing is wrong. For example, I mean, no one likes to be told what to do. So it's important for you, instead of telling them what to do, is to suggest them different possibilities while trying to get the aim that they're going for. Like, for example, if the narcissist said, you know what, I want to I want to do go bungee jump, for example. Okay, most people will do this. Hey, don't go bungee jumping, it's scary. Okay, which will make your narcissist like burst out. Like, you make him feel stupid, like it's a stupid idea, right? So a better way would be, if you're worried about this narcissist trying to, doing something that killed himself, probably using more money than he should, for example, then the first question would be, the best way to approach people. Well, you know what? That's a great idea. Okay, then help him go through the process. If you're worried about whether it uses a lot of money, let him realize it. Let him realize. Let him learn it. Like, for example, keep asking questions while being excited about him. Eventually, this person will go to that stage where you think, you know what, I don't actually enough money to do bungee jumping, for example, since you have to go out of Malaysia to do that. But what I can do is perhaps, since I wanna do something different, maybe I can do this. Cost less money. Okay. So it's basically like you talking to a kid, to a child. You teaching them how to think through things. You teaching them how to uh, make decisions. So every time they want to do something, you validate it, and then you bring them to the process where they feel more confident about it. That makes them trust you even more. That makes you trust them even more. So then you keep doing it, you keep doing it. It'll come to the point where a narcissist feels so comfortable with you. They trust you so much that they actually will drop the narcissism. The narcissism will not see you as a threat. It's like kind of like uh, yeah, with your brothers and sisters, right? I mean, like, if you have a really good relationship with your brothers and sisters, they can tease you, they can say weird things about you, but you don't really feel it because these people are actually love you. They don't really want to hurt you. So you feel good. You feel good. So eventually, the more they trust you, right? The narcissist trusts you, uh, the more their emotions will get regulated. So it's very important for 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 you, if you want to be in a relationship with a narcissist, to to do this, to do this. Okay. All right. So those are only the two things you need to do, in my opinion. Okay. Always bear in mind the narcissist is in immense shame and guilt due to his experiences from a child until now, and also to to a big extent fear, and all these three emotions are the ones that's clouding his other emotions. It's difficult to feel, for example, okay, I have no idea, like feeling of joy, perhaps, love, I don't know what. If you are in constant state of fear, if you are in constant state of flight, because those two things will supersede every other emotion, because it's for survival. I mean, your body sees of it as a survival mechanism, so it'll supersede any other emotions. So it's actually incorrect to say that narcissist doesn't have empathy. It's just that we're always in a feeling of flight or fright. Now, assuming you are able to really live well with your narcissist, he trusts you even more, then you will start to see that this person actually has a different side with regards to you, huh? With regards to you, not what we had with any other person just yet. With regards to you, so meaning he will trust you, but at the moment doesn't trust anything else. But at least he has a base. The narcissist has a base, a way for him to self-regulate every time because when he goes out to the world, he's gonna get all kinds of shit again. But at least when he comes back, he can self-regulate with you. Okay, his emotions, get validated and all that kind of stuff. Okay, another way to get his trust, his or her, okay, is when he f's up. Sooner or later, the narcissist is gonna f up. Okay, sooner or later, you can bet that'll happen. He's gonna do something that's weird, that's stupid, that's crazy, and you're a human being, right? I mean, you can't be perfect all the time. You're gonna make mistakes anyway. So some kind of clash is gonna happen. Some kind of conflict, like really big conflict. Because for narcissist, there's no in between. It's always gonna be like, you know, unbelievably crazy, and then you blow up, and then he blows up. So this is another way for you to gain the narcissist trust. Every time that happens, you show him that you forgive him, and that you are also sorry for causing that pain on him. Because I can bet you, man, you cause a lot of pain to a narcissist. You might think it's painful for you, but it's more painful for a narcissist. Why? Because he trusts you. And for that split second when you guys fight, everything comes into his mind again. All those years of abandonment, all those years of crushing guilt just bears down on a narcissist, and it's painful. So what happens? The narcissism kicks in, like overcharges. The narcissism kicks in because if it doesn't, the narcissist will kill himself. Probably kill himself, I suppose. So what you would see is this, like, you will see a psychopath for a brief moment in time, since the narcissism has to go to the point of protecting this person from that pain. You will see a psychopath for at least a few months until he regulates himself again. A psychopath, in my opinion, is the literal, is when the narcissism takes over the person so much, 100%, that's it. Gave up on the world already. Gave up on the world. Anyway, that is a way to hurt a narcissist if you really want to do so. Gain his trust as much as you can. Then just bash the crap out of him. Go no contact, perhaps. Go gray rock. Manipulate him again. Treat him like an asshole. Or you can go that route, but I can tell you right now, you're gonna turn him into a psychopath. So it might not hurt you, but I can bet you it's going to hurt the other next person he meets with. So I'm not trying to guilt. Okay, I'm trying to guilt trip you guys. Okay, but I'm doing it because I'm trying to tell you what the consequences are. On the flip side, there is an opportunity for you to actually gain even more trust. That's my son. That's an opportunity to gain more trust. See, what happened was, I've been married 10 years, right? Okay? Every time I blow up, I go crazy, I go maniacal, I go psychopathic. My wife stayed with me through all the craziness. So I trust my wife implicitly right now. Okay? We still go through fights and everything. But if I have to say I trust anyone, it's my wife. So she gets to do certain stuff to me, lah, right? Like for example, she gets to evaluate my ideas because now I trust her judges more than mine. So for example, if I come up with an idea, I always ask her, okay, what do you think? I mean, you know these things better than me, right? I mean, like literally, I'm not. Don't maybe I'm not. I sound like I'm patronizing, but I'm like saying literally because she does know better than me. So once you get that level of trust, it's a bit easier for you to talk with a narcissist. I'm not saying it's going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, because there's decades of habits and decades of pain. But it gives you a framework to work with. And then the great thing is the more trust you have between each other, the better you'll communicate. Okay, this is for my narcissist brothers and sisters, okay? You will never get what you want unless you can work in a relationship, your primary partner, okay? This for the self-aware ones, lah. The non-self-aware ones, I mean, good luck to you guys. Hopefully one day you're self-aware, right? But this for the narcissist, for those who are, what do you call this, have narcissistic personality, or want to use narcissistic style in their lives, okay? Having someone, your relationship, your primary partner is important. You have to take care of them, okay? You always have to say, okay, put in your mind, okay? If you abuse this person, there's no way out for you, okay? You have to convince yourself, okay? I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying that is the solution. So you always put in your mind, that's what you need to do. This is for my narcissist brothers and sisters, okay? Hey, rescue lady, what's up? Yeah, I'm back. Been a while. So that's my take. That's my take on how you can try to interact, try to coexist in symbiosis with the narcissist. I'm the closest I can say is a parent-child relationship, right? Parent-child relationship. And just like a parent-child relationship, I suppose the step that I said is the same. Probably there's someone else better than me who can go through that, who's better be at therapy than me, in this regard. Okay, just like in my previous video, guys, the last one I did before this. If there's any people listening to this that before this harbors hatred for narcissists, right? Like actual hatred, calling us demons, sons of Satan's, daughter of Satan, blaming us for every single thing that happened to you. I want to say two things. Number one is I'm sorry. That's all I can say. I can say I'm trying. I mean, I would love it if I can say sorry for other narcissists out there, but I can only say it for myself. I'm sorry. On the other hand, I beg of you guys, remember I'm a child emotionally. I'm I'm a child right now. The self-aware narcissist. I'm a child right now trying to ask people to help me learn. I'm still impulsive. Uh, I still trample on people's feelings. I still think more about myself than others. But I still think I'm invincible. But also, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to convince myself that this world can change, can be different, can be that it's not the same world that's causing me all this pain. So I beg of you guys, like, help me, show me that world. The only thing that's showing me that right now is my wife. Okay, certain members of the spiritual community, but a vast majority of people I see hates us, calls us diseased, calls us pathological, calls us hopeless, hates us. Do you blame us if we fight back? Now I'm smart enough to know by doing that I'm just causing more destruction on the world, right? I mean, you'll turn around and come back to me. But it's hard. It's hard when everything else is not showing you what you want to see. Anyway, I'm gonna stop my suggestions. 41 minutes right now. Hopefully it helps. Thanks for people who came and gave me likes and talked to me about it. See you in the next video.